Hi folks, it's Farmer Tom here. The 3rd of February is the third day of our Cheese a Day challenge, and I hope you're having as much fun as I am. And having been to Ireland and across to Wales for day 2, today we're going to be tasting an English cheese. And after a brilliant virtual tasting yesterday, I thought I'd invite another co-taster to enjoy the cheese along with me. And who better than the cheese master, the producer of cheese themselves. So today we're going to be tasting a beautiful English cheese, and it's time to welcome my co-taster, the producer of cheese, the cheese meister himself. I am, of course, talking about Jonny Crickmore, whose name is synonymous with quality cheese here in the UK. So welcome, Jonny. Thank you so much for joining us to do this tasting.
No worries, Tom.
It's great. It's great to have you here. And of course, there'll be no prizes for guessing what cheese we'll be tasting today. That's cheese number 3, the 3rd of February, the third day of our Cheese a Day challenge. So Jonny, will you just give us a little bit of introduction for people who haven't heard about your cheese?
Okay, so the cheese what we make is Baron Bigod. It's a brie style cheese, a raw cow's milk brie made in the United Kingdom, which is quite unusual because we don't tend to make much brie, but especially raw milk brie. So that's the cheese we make, and we make it at our dairy farm at Bungay in Suffolk. I'm the third generation of my family to farm at Fen Farm Dairy.
You've got a couple of ankle biters in the family, and I was reading on your website, it says you've been working on the farm since the age of 4, when you would sneak out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and follow Dad to the cowshed to help with the morning jobs. Are your whippersnappers doing the same? Are they going to be following in your footsteps or close to your heel?
Well, at the moment, I'm proud to say yes, they are. Our house is just up the road from the farm, so they can't walk down the path to the farm with me, but they can get in the truck with me. So at the weekends, we do. I just sort of rotate with both of them, and they come up at 5 in the morning. So. Yeah, they're very good like that, and I kind of keep every Sunday, whatever it is, I wake them up, and they haven't yet said to me, "No, I want to go to sleep, Daddy." Every time they've got up, so I'm really proud of them both. So
you've got a couple of great relief milkers there.
Well, that's it. I'm training them up. They're only easy things at the moment, just opening gates and things. But that's what I used to do for my father. I was a fantastic gate opener.
But Jonny, you're obviously training them well, and hopefully they'll follow their dreams wherever they are. But it could well be that is into producing fantastic dairy products, caring for the environment, and trying to achieve your goal of sustainability and being carbon neutral. Let's get on to the cheese tasting. This is whilst in my mind you're the superstar, really for a lot of people tasting the cheese. This little fella here is the superstar. So let's crack on, Jonny. I can tell this is a special cheese because we've got the special cheese knife out.
Oh yeah.
So as I cut this up and just start the tasting, and other people will be doing the same, what should we be? What kind of tasting notes can you give us? What should we be looking out for? How does the Baron Bigod stand out or taste different to other cheeses?
Well, I think it's an interesting one with brie, and I think the cheese has got sort of 3 different sort of things going on there. You've got the rind itself, which brings taste of like mushroom, and and as the rind actually matures, you get a little bit of heat from it. But just under the rind, you get a gooey layer, and the gooey layer is the breakdown of the curd. So what happens is the mold is feeding off the curd, and it creates this broken down stuff, which is the gooey bit. And for that flavour, you've got sort of stronger sort of meaty, yeasty flavours, maybe. Sort of a creamy sort of texture to it. And then as you move into the center, you've got then more of a sort of lactic acidy, lemony sort of finish. That's the sort of the original curd of the cheese still there. If that helps in any
it's
way.
So helpful. I often find when I've got somebody describing the taste, I can taste it a lot better because I wouldn't think of lemony. It wouldn't come straight to my mind. And yet, actually, you're right. It definitely got that kind of flavouring.
It's got a little bit of acidy sort of lemon, but it's it changes throughout the year the sort of flavours. But I think there is a slightly sort of more meaty, sort of little hints of sort of, I don't know, like vegetable sort of cabbagey sort of notes there a little bit. It's not like a strong camembert or anything like that, but it's
absolutely delicious. Gosh, I mean, what's the most of this you've ever eaten in one go?
oh,
I'm ready to challenge that.
I've gone through a kilo in a day.
Jonny, you
yeah.
are absolute champion.
Yeah, well, if you keep chipping away at it, it's like, a kilo, if you did it in one sitting, it's hard. But if you keep chipping away at it throughout the day, you see what happens if you're standing at a market selling cheese. You just keep eating it, don't you?
Not going to sell itself. Well, perhaps it does. I don't know, but you've got to be looking the part and going for it. Yeah.
Absolutely, you've got to show your customers that that you truly believe in it, and I think that it's only right that you should eat it while you go.
Jonny, a kilo of cheese, that is definitely believing in it. I mean,
well, every Friday we do cheese tasting. I'm eating probably a quarter of a kilo every Friday.
How do you stay so fit and trim? That's amazing.
Well, I just run around a lot during the week, and that allows me to eat that quarter of a kilo on a Friday afternoon. But the cheese sort of story began in 2011 when we came up with this this sort of idea, whether it was going to work or not, but we weren't going to lose too much. We bought this garden shed and we painted it the color of a cow, sort of black and white patches, and wrote a big word on the side that said milk. We stuck it near the road. We're on a B road just outside Bungay, 30 miles an hour. It's quite a bit of traffic drive past. And we just put this shed there. And inside the shed, we bought a secondhand fridge off eBay and a pallet of poly bottles. And we started filling up fresh raw cow's milk from our bulk tank. Just to see what would happen, really. I just had a bit of a feeling like if we put milk in a bottle, it tastes so good when it's raw and it's so fresh and the flavor is so much stronger and sweeter. And we put it in this little fridge and put an honesty box on the wall and just £1 a litre, nice and simple. Mm-hmm. And I put 30 bottles in, and at the end of the day, all of the bottles were gone and there was £30 in the tin. So that was day one. I repeated that. Day two, I put 35 litres and they'd all gone. Day three, people started writing things in our comments book saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe how good this milk is. I need some for my friend as well." And on it went. And this little shed was really the beginning of what we are today, which is sort of a business which processes our milk into cheese and butter, yogurt, mascarpone. On it goes, raw milk, obviously. Sorry, I could waffle on forever with this, couldn't I?
Well, a classic cottage industry, now 9 years later, featured on the final of MasterChef.
I know, it is pretty unbelievable, really, over that time, kind of what we've done and seen, and I've loved every minute of it. It's been hard along the way, stressful at times, but I wouldn't have ever done it a different way. It's been an amazing few years for us. But the cheese, Baron Bygod, that came about. It got to a point with the raw milk that we kind of saw that there's so much more potential in like doing something with our milk, rather than selling it on. You're putting all that work into it, and you've got the milk in a tank, and like the tank swishing, it's full, and then a lorry comes and picks it up, and then that's gone. Mm-hmm. And we just thought, well, we can make so much more margin on our milk selling it as raw milk, but we can't sell only so much of it at the farm gate. So what else can we sell at the farm gate? And that's where the idea of cheese came along. And at this point, I kind of started to I know it sounds silly, but if you want to make something really good, you just need to find somebody who makes something really good and go and visit them. Mm. And so if we want to make really good cheese, you just tap in on the internet, really good cheese, and it comes up with some names of people who make really good cheese. So you phone them up, and I was expecting probably people to tell me to go and get lost, but they didn't, because the industry, what we're in, the specialty cheese industry, all of the people who make cheese are really, really lovely people. And they're all welcoming. Me and my wife Dulcie, we went and visited all these cheese makers and just started to understand the industry. And I loved it. It was the people were there. They're all farmers just like us. And I just got on with them like a house on fire. And we just realized there was no brie made in the UK, like good, proper, artisan brie, which was as good as the French make it. So that was our quest. So from once we knew what cheese we wanted to make, and we knew the secret of how to make something good by tapping in really good cheese, or or whatever it's like, how do you make really good brie, and then like off you go.
Nowadays, of course, your name and Dulce's name will come up, but back then, one of the keys was in the breed of cattle. Is that right? The breed of cow that you're using?
It is, yeah. I probably am sort of like making it sound really easy, but there was a lot more to it than that. You've got to go with cheese. You've got to go down to the fine detail. So I remember Randolph Hodgson, the founder of Neil's Yard Dairy, in our early days when we met him. He said there's good cheese. There's a lot of good cheese, but then it's very difficult to get exceptional cheese, and it's the difference is the detail. So it's all the small little things what are different, which you keep adding together. And when you bring them all together, it makes something really amazing. And it is the detail. And the cows were such a major part to this, because you can make cheese from any milk, but to make really good cheese, you've got to have really good milk. So you've got to, for us, it was at that point, it seemed obvious that, people, for starters, were coming to our farm to buy raw milk because it tasted much better than the stuff they could buy in a shop. So people were responding to quality. So all we sort of focused on from that point onwards is, how do I make the quality of the milk better? So buying these like French cows, the Montbéliard, that the cows are there in France producing milk, which goes into some really superb cheese. And so you go and find those cows and bring them back to the UK, and they should, in theory, make really superb cheese here. My father was a bit worried, but because we sold to finance these, we sold up some of our Holsteins, the cows which we had previous, and we were buying. The funny thing is, the Holsteins made more money what we sold than the Montbéliard we brought in, and we were replacing these high yielding Holsteins, what gave all of this milk, with the Montbéliard, what gives a little bit more than half the milk. It doesn't make sense, does it? But it did, because it created, first of all, it created a bit of a story. I never really thought of it as a story, but it did. But the milk was just far more superb or superior in making cheese. It's more to it than just milk. It's the type of milk. It's the fat and the protein ratio, the kind of fat. It's like if you looked at the fat under a microscope and saw the fat globule of a Montbéliard to, say, like a Jersey, they're very different. They're very good for cheese making. Sorry, I could get really geeky about this, but fat in a Montbéliard cow, the fat globule is very small, whereas a Jersey cow is really big, and it's quite difficult to get that fat to mix in the milk when you add rennet to make the milk set. So it gets really complicated here, but it's this type of protein and the type of fat what the cow produces, which is which makes the difference.
Why don't you tell us, Jonny, a bit about part of your story is that you're aiming towards greener farming. What do you do differently on your farm?
I think we've all got to start being more responsible about what we do, because if you don't, who's to say anyone will?
So in my house, I don't have underfloor heating, but I understand in your parlour, your milking parlour, you have underfloor heating. Tell me about that.
Well, it's not quite. It's the cow yard which is underfloor heating. So and the milking parlour is connected, but I'll come on to that. So what happens is the cow yard is underfloor heating in reverse. So normally you put heat pipes on your floor and connect it to the heating system in your house. what we've done is connected the borehole water to the milking parlour via the cow shed. So all what happens is that we put a mile, 1.5 kilometres of alkathene pipe. It holds approximately 1,000 litres of water in that pipe. So what happens during the winter months is the concrete heats up what the cow bedding is on, because muck is obviously, it starts to heat up, doesn't it? It starts to break down. And the water in the pipe is heated by the heat in the concrete from the muck. So muck is actually, in our cow shed, we've done this test a few times, it's approximately 42 to 44 degrees. And after a period of time when the cows have been in that yard through the winter, the concrete remains hot, and the pipe, which is just below the concrete, also heats up. So what happens is in the pipe connects to the milking parlour, and you need to wash the milking parlour down with hot water, all of the pipe work and everything. So you normally have to heat water up to do that. So what we've done is we've put in place a holding tank of 1,000 litres. So when the milking parlour demands hot water to wash up, it drains 1,000 litres out of the tank, and then the 1,000 litres is refilled from the 1,000 litres what sits in the cow floor. So the water goes from there is actually another part in this, because while it's in that holding tank, we put a little pump on it, which pumps the water round through our compressors where the refrigerant gas is very hot. So these compressors are the refrigeration part of our milk, cools the milk down. So from cooling the milk down, you get heat. And all we're doing is transferring the heat from the refrigerant gas to this holding tank of water, which come from the cow shed. So the water is in the mid to high 30s. It's now going through a heat exchange with refrigerant gas. It's now coming back about 60 to 70 degrees. And then from 60 to 70 degrees, we put it through another heat exchange, which is hot water from a straw burner. So the bales, what we bale on a farm during the summertime, which go for our cow bedding, we also we create heat from it's no different to a wood burner, really, same principle. And it's just heating more water. And again, it goes through another heat exchange, and it takes the water, which originally started about 8 degrees to about 90. And we haven't used any source of heating water with electricity. It's all come from, other than the little pump, it's all come from things which are on the farm.
Yes, so no fossil fuels. It's actually going back to nature and making sure there's there's no waste in nature, and you're making use of waste, which is so encouraging.
Well, yeah, you're looking at things on your farm which you can use. I mean, they're everywhere. There's things all over the place which you can make use of, and rather than buying in, like you say, buying in red diesel to heat water and stuff like that. It's crazy. There's heat everywhere. Just how do you use it?
But it obviously takes a mind like yours to unlock that. So thanks for leading the way, Jonny.
Well, it was like a bit of I'm always up for like a little bit of a challenge or a gamble, and what can you lose? The alkathene pipe's 1,500 quid, but if we're spending £10 a day to heat water up on electric, and imagine £10 is 100 degrees, just to keep it easy and simple. So your mains water coming in, your borehole water is about 8 degrees. So that's 80 quid. That's 80 pence. And then from 80 pence to about 35 pence. Have I got my
35 degrees?
35 degrees. From 8 degrees to 35 degrees, you turn from 80p to £3.50. And that's your saving. That's all free every day.
Yeah.
From 80p to £3.50 on, and if you times that by, let's do a math, so it's £2.50, £2.70 a day times 365 days of the year. I don't know what that is, but I can tell you.
It's about £1,000 straight off.
£2.70 times 365. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's 985 quid. So it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah. And it just needs unlocking by a little bit of lateral thinking. So, well done. You're leading the way, and actually a lot of us look up to that. So that's brilliant. So what drink would you pair the Baron Bigod with?
Well, for me, I would just go for. I find like the Aspel's draft. Just the cider just goes very well with it. But
Jonny,
equally,
it's only a Wednesday lunchtime. You're a bad man. I think we can do that. We can celebrate being over halfway through the week with a cider and a Baron Bygone.
Well, it's a French cheese. That's what French people do. They're drinking
Absolument. I like your style. I doff my cap to you, Jonny. That's amazing, and thanks so much for sharing your story.
No, thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure. It's certainly complemented. It's been a great pairing with the tasting of the Baron Bygone. It's certainly helped me to really enjoy that. But I'll say farewell for now, and I'll probably trouser the rest of this in very short order, and be popping on the website for a bit more. Thank you so much. It's been great to chat.
Yeah, no worries, Tom.